Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am bringing you guys a bit of a different video. I'm going to be talking about Verdansk versus Rebirth Island and why right now Rebirth Island for me is a ton more fun than Verdansk. Now I know a lot of players have been feeling the same way, especially since we saw with the introduction of Season 4 where we had Verdansk Resurgence included. A lot more of a change of pace. Essentially what happened for me was we played a lot of Verdansk Resurgence, me and my squad. We got really used to the pace of it. It was a lot of fun and we found out that Verdansk could be a lot more fun on a shorter timescale zone section where things moved a lot quicker, everybody looted a lot quicker. You could come back a couple of times and then it cut off near the end and it was a lot more gunfights, a lot more involvement and a better pace overall. Since then we've not really enjoyed regular Verdansk because that pace was actually a lot more fun for us, and I'm sure a lot of you guys feel exactly the same about this because I've seen a ton of TikToks, a ton of YouTube videos, a ton of Twitter posts, everything saying that actually now Rebirth is people's favourite mode. So I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons of why Verdansk and Rebirth work slightly differently and why I think Rebirth Island is better than Verdansk. And I'm also going to go over a few things that Raven and Call of Duty could do to improve regular Verdansk in order to keep Warzone alive going forward. Now obviously this is a bit of a different video to usual, so if you do go on to enjoy it, please do leave a like down below as it'd be much appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, please do make sure you subscribe down below and turn the notification bells on so that you don't miss an upload, as that would really help me out, and we're super close to 2k subs now, so your support would be much appreciated. So as always, I will leave timestamps in the description and in the comments below so you can skip through to parts if you would like to, but of course I would really appreciate anybody who watches the whole way through, as I really do need the watch time, so that'd be excellent. Cheers. Now we're going to jump into it here and we're going to talk about pace first. So like I mentioned in the introduction there, we did have a lot more pace in the Resurgence mode in Verdansk. Now I do just want to do a prelude to this video saying that I do actually quite like regular Verdansk still, and I think it's got a few pros that make it, you know, good for the mode that it is. But there's a lot of things that Rebirth Island has done really well that I feel like Raven and Call of Duty in general should be taking forward to implement into Verdansk in order to kind of up the pace of it a little bit and make it a bit more enjoyable for everybody, basically. Now, obviously, again, I'm going to preface this with the fact that cheaters are an inevitable part of the game at the moment, and without an anti-cheat, we're never really going to get an ideal situation or game mode, so obviously that's going to be in the forefront throughout, and if by any chance there's one recommendation that kind of comes from this video, it is anti-cheat, obviously, but I'm going to go through some of the actual gameplay and mechanical options that make things fun so that we can discuss those as well, because kind of like cheaters is just cheaters and they're kind of rubbish. So yeah, we're going to move on with that and talk about the pace. So first of all, obviously Resurgence, you can respawn, that is nice, but even Mini Royale has a better pace, and this is because you start with a smaller zone and you work your way in. It works particularly well on Verdansk because we have a huge map to start with, so starting in those smaller zones, forcing people to fight for loot off the bat, fight for contracts and making contracts more sparse, and then obviously encouraging fights and gunfights to happen by pushing the zones in a lot quicker and a lot smaller is a really fun feature, and I think it's something that Verdansk in general overlooks by the fact that it's far too big and the actual POIs, the different areas you can go, are not rewarding enough to make enough people go there. It's just as easy to land on the outskirts of farmland, loot up, and, you know, kind of get your contracts, get your loadout in, as it is to land in the middle of Storage Town, in the middle of Airfield, the middle of Boneyard, and fight 3 different other squads. You may as well land on the edge, do your scavenger, take your time. And one of the main factors that makes this annoying is, you know, it's kind of fine if people want to do that, but when you've waited 10, 15, 20 minutes even for your first gunfight, you've looted up, you've got your loadout, you've all got self-reses, and then a cheater 4-taps all of you in the head, you've got no chance of winning, and that's game over, and you've wasted 15, 20 minutes looting up. It's dead. No one wants to play a game like that. That is not fun. That is why Rebirth Island, in my opinion, in terms of pace, makes a whole lot of difference. Whether it's Mini Royale or Resurgence, personally, I prefer the Resurgence mode, but again, that's personal preference. By the time you've got 2-3 minutes into the game, generally you've completed a contract or 2, you've got a lot of money, you've had a gunfight, you can already tell if you're in a cheater lobby because you'll be able to see the kill feed going crazy, or you will have died to them yourself and you back out within the first 5-10 minutes. Job done. It's annoying, but it's nowhere near as annoying as a 15 to 20 minute game. Generally, generally in 5 minutes you know in Rebirth whether there is a cheater or not in that lobby. Now also this works for sweaty lobbies. If you get into a lobby where everyone is absolutely sweating and you're just looking to play some casual games, again Rebirth just takes the biscuit with it, because you can go in, have a couple gunfights. If people are sweating out, you've died a few times off respawn, back it out, start again, you've wasted 2, 3, 4 minutes as opposed to 15, 20 minutes looting to only then find out that you're in a super sweaty lobby. And to actually survive that, you're going to have to camp, you're going to have to do your recons, get a ton of UAVs, get to the last zone quickly. And that's where the pace differs. Now, again, it's probably personal preference. Some people may enjoy playing out for the long term. So let me know in the comments kind of what you think about that. But in terms of the gameplay, for me, the pace of Rebirth is a lot nicer. Now, obviously, as well, we're looking at the map and the overview of the map and the colour schemes. Rebirth just looks a lot nicer in general. Nicer colours, nicer contrast, nicer saturation of stuff. You can see the sun glare is something which is amazing. And whether you prefer the Cold War style of Verdansk map or the colourful style of Rebirth Island, that is again more personal preference, but we can all agree on the fact that the sun glare is the most annoying thing in Verdansk. You literally cannot see people in gunfights if you're looking at the sun. Rebirth Island is a very bright map, the sun's there, but you're not getting blinded by it, which is really nice. And it's definitely the major thing that they need to change about that in terms of gameplay mechanics that is really going to help Verdansk, because it's terrible in Verdansk. You can barely see anything. Now, another thing here is gunfights. Now, Rebirth Island kind of works off the basis that there is a lot of height advantages, but each height advantage has an equal height. So, if, for example, you're on Prison Roof, you can be seen from the top of Decon, you can be seen from the top of Bioweapons, you can be seen from the top of Harbour, Living Quarters, Headquarters, all of those different areas, and they can see each other's roofs as well, which means that you can rarely camp in these spots without getting seen by 2 or 3 other teams, which really encourages gunfights to happen, which is fantastic for one. But also things where, like Living Quarters, where you've got a downstairs, an upstairs, a roof that you can get to via a ladder, and some of them even have a basement leading to a lower pathway, and that encourages different multi-level fights. It means you've got to use the audio to listen for footsteps and things where it's applicable, obviously, and it means that you can add a lot more mobility to your gunfights, making them a lot less static. You can jump around, you can use positioning to get an advantage, you can go to the building across, shoot in while somebody else rushes in. You can make a lot more tactical plays, and it builds up really well. The POIs in Verdansk tend to be pretty crammed off the start, and then it's generally people kind of hiding in mountains and things, which again, maybe some players enjoy this, but for me personally, I think that if Warzone and regular Verdansk mode was a lot more fast-paced and encouraging gunfights a lot more, then there'd be a lot more incentive for people to actually fight it out, and that would be a lot more fun than kind of getting sniped in the back of the head or third-partied from across the map when you've been, you know, looting for 25 minutes, UAVs constantly up, searching for a fight, finally find somebody, third-partied by a sniper, end of your game. And this leads on to the next point, which is reactions and camping. We saw Verdansk Resurgence encourage reactional gameplay a lot more. The zones moved in quickly, which meant you had to reposition, look for the best positional advantage, and adjust to that quickly, as well as not being able to camp because you were constantly getting moved around. And I felt that this played out a lot better than usual. In regular games of Verdansk, you can get a sniper, get to the top of downtown, and you can sit there for 20-30 minutes, not move, especially if the zone's in your favour. You can almost be there till the end of the game 9 times out of 10 if the zone works for your favour. So it's kind of a bit slow in my opinion, and I really don't enjoy that style of gameplay, particularly when I'm someone who wants to go for clips and things for YouTube videos. I'm going in looking for gunfights, I'll maybe get a kill or two, and then get sniped from someone on the top skyrise building somewhere in the distance. It's quite annoying. I would prefer people to be fighting it out, and although there is ways you can get around that, you can get bounties, you can get UAVs, super UAVs when you call in 3 at once, although again, they're expensive, but it just plays out a lot better. Now again, this relates to the next point, which is going to be economy, and that's going to be the fact that in Rebirth Island, all of the contracts are very close-knit. You can land pretty much anywhere, and there will be a contract at least, and all of the contracts are pretty close. So, for example, if you get a supply run, maybe in tents, the chances are you will get the living quarters or the tent spy to get that supply run completed. Whereas if you get a supply run in Verdansk, you might claim it at farmland, and you've got to go 600-700 meters to claim that supply run. Yes, you've got more vehicle options, but it just makes the gameplay a lot slower. Whereas in Rebirth, again, you get a bounty, it gives you somebody nearby. If you get a scavenger run, all of the chests generally spawn within 50-meter radius, and sometimes they literally spawn next to each other. And although some people might find this too easy, it speeds up the gameplay a lot more, means that players get economy off the bat, so everybody's got loadouts a lot quicker and got UAVs, self-reses, all that good stuff, which to some people might sound like it's a bit OP, but it actually encourages a lot more gunfights to happen, a lot more fast-paced gameplay, and it's a lot more fun because people are actually running around fighting each other. They've got the weapon they want to use, and because because you can get them so readily available and the free ones drop very regularly as well, it means that people aren't camping as much because they don't want to hold on to their weapon. They can just Resurgence, come back in, grab the loadout again, get their loadout back in, get their perks, get their weapons that they want to use, and continue playing without any issues, which is again why the pace of it works a lot better in Rebirth, in my opinion. And that leads nicely onto XP rates. Again, with Rebirth, the amount of contracts you can complete and the amount of kills you get in a short amount of time is ridiculous. If you haven't seen my video on how to level up your weapons fast in Warzone, go and watch it. It's completely to do with this factor that in Rebirth Island, you can just rack up contracts, get the bonuses, and get a ton of XP, a ton of money, and obviously a ton of weapon XP as a result of that as well. And it's just a ton more fast pace. Again, if you're in regular Verdansk, you're taking a lot more time to get those contracts completed, get kills, find people, generally do stuff is a lot longer. And so, again, when they had the Resurgence mode, although there wasn't as many contracts in it, there was a few bounties around which were nice, but also the zones were a lot smaller, so you were actually getting gunfights where you were racking up kills very easily, and people were not afraid to challenge because they had the option of Resurgence, which gave it a lot more pizzazz to it. A lot more stuff was actually happening rather than just stagnant gameplay, which was really, really nice. And overall then, it is just to do with the effort and the fun that you get out of the game mode. Again, this will be a lot to do with personal preference and playstyle, but for me, Rebirth Island or the Resurgence Verdansk mode were a ton more fun, an absolute head and shoulders above regular Verdansk in terms of how much fun they actually are to play, because again, sometimes Verdansk regular can be fun if you loot up for maybe 5 minutes, let's say, get yourself set up, you've got loadouts, self-reses, UAVs, you push a team, you win, you push the next team, you win, you push the next team, you win, do some contracts, get to final zone, you know, kill a few more players, and maybe even win the game, come top 3, top 5, whatever it is, and you have a good game out of it. But there is then also the 3-4 other games in between that, where you've been looting for 20 minutes, you find one team, maybe you beat that team, maybe you don't. If you don't, you're out, you've wasted 20 minutes, and it's annoying, but it's just how the game goes. But maybe you win that first team, and then you get to final zone, and there's a cheater, or you get to final zone, and someone's up on top of the building, and you can't do much about it. Whereas in Resurgence, because the zones were moving so quickly, and because people didn't have time to get set up as easily, it was much more fast-paced. And this goes for Rebirth Island as well. People are much more forced to move around a lot more frequently, and because the map is so small, a lot more cover is available, a lot more buildings to go in, a lot more areas where cliff edges can be used, you know, kind of staircases, fences, walls, everything like that. You can dodge between them, and you can actually get around the map a lot easier. That is encouraging players to engage in gunfights, to move positions, to change things up, and very rarely you get someone sat in one place for the entire match, which is a lot nicer, and it makes it a lot more fun because you're able to get back in the game quicker. You're able to find, if you've got cheaters, to get to the next lobby like I mentioned at the start there. If you haven't, you're able to, you know, pick up some kills. Maybe you go down, but then you get Resurgence back in. Loadout you can get in 1 or 2 contracts time, so quickly do a scavenger. You've got your loadout back, you can get your guns back in and keep going with it, and it just makes it a whole lot more fun in my opinion. But again, I guess that is personal preference, so let me know what your thoughts are on that down below in the comments. Now finally, to finish off here, I just wanted to cover some things that Raven and COD could do in general to make Warzone much more fun and enjoyable for the players. And I think one thing they could do in respect to that is to actually add Resurgence Verdansk as a static playlist. In other words, don't take it away from us. Let us have that option. For me, it's the most fun game mode I've ever played. I prefer Verdansk generally, the map, the landscape, the way it plays out, to Rebirth Island, although Rebirth over the last, you know, kind of couple of weeks has become my favourite map. I don't like Verdansk as much now, but if Resurgence was in as a permanent mode, I would definitely be main playing that rather than Rebirth, because again, I like the way it plays out. It felt like a nicer mode to play. There was a little bit more option for room to move and things like that, and generally I've got more used to Verdansk playing that one more than Rebirth in general, so I just like it. But if that was added as a permanent option, I think that game mode would give a nice balance between the two modes, where it's a lot quicker gameplay, but it's still on the original map. So that's just my opinion. That's something I'd like to see, so let me know in the comments if you'd like that too. I also think what they could do is make the zone times a lot quicker in regular Verdansk. Maybe have some more intermittent zones, so when the first zone would be there, maybe have a first zone after 30 seconds that only goes half the distance of what the regular first zone would have done. Then another 30 seconds, we get the remaining amount of the first zone, then another bit, and another bit, and another bit. So it's constantly moving and adapting the map, meaning that players have to adapt their strategies and their positioning to actually accomplish some good kills. That would add a whole nother level of strategy to it, make recons more valuable, but also not too OP, because you'd have to do a ton more to get to final zone. And it would also mean that there's more emphasis on getting things like a UAV early, so you can see where players are to rotate to those positions that are good if you have done the recons early doors. So it would add a lot more benefit to the map there. And I think another thing they could do, obviously above anything else, would be to add an anti-cheat. PUBG. Obviously, that would be the most desirable thing, and it, you know, people have been asking for it. Content creators, players, spectators, people who don't even play the game that have watched it, all of them want anti-cheat as well, including myself and everybody probably watching this video. So if there's one major thing they could do, obviously it would be that, but generally gameplay, making it a bit faster, a bit quicker, and more rewarding would be something they can do on a technical front rather than, you know, removing players from the game. So hopefully there's a few suggestions there that make sense. Let me know in the comments what your suggestions would be. What would you like to see added to Verdansk or Rebirth Island? What would you like to see them do more of? What would you like to see taken out of the game? Let me know your thoughts down below. Obviously, this is a bit of a different video to usual, so any support on this would be much, much appreciated. Let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. And as always, please do subscribe if you are new to the channel. We're pushing for 2K subs, so your support will be much, much appreciated with that. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care and peace.